Good evening. Now let's start our talk show episode 85. The only things that stand between you and your dream is the will to try and believe that is actually possible. It's a beautiful quote quoted by Joel Brown. So with this quote, I would like to bring our talk show named Conversation with Consultants with episode 85 of our guest talk series. Good evening, everyone. I am Rima Kumari, HR coordinator of SKNG, and I am your host for today's talk show. Before I begin our talk show, let me briefly introduce SK Associates and Group. We are ISO certified management consulting firm registered under the MSMED Act 2000 with the Government of India. Our mission is to providing consulting service to student entrepreneurs. Passion lies in helping these budding entrepreneurs bringing their dreams to and contribute to global economics growth. Entrepreneurship is a catalyst for change and innovation. It's a powerful force that can reshape industries, transforms lives, and make the world a better place. We are committed to supporting students, entrepreneurs on their journey, equipping them with the tools, knowledge, and network they need to succeed. Now, before I begin our show, let's take a moment to introduce our guest for today. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome Mr. Father Kuruvilla Pandikattu, Professor of Business Ethics of XLRI Xavier School of Management, Jamshedpur, to this special event. We are truly honored by your presence today and we are delighted to have you here in this talk show to share your insight with us. We would like to start this interview with our first question for you. What inspired you teach business ethics to entrepreneurs?
Thank you. Thank you, Ms. Rima. And I also want to thank the whole SK Associates, Mr. Shravan and others. We have been in collaboration with each other for so many years. It was nice coming to know you all. And I really appreciate your enterprise, the conversation with entrepreneurs. Obviously, I'm aware that you have been in this mode for so many years, and this is truly the need of the hour. For India, we are still a growing economy and we need to move fast. And it is these entrepreneurs who will actually push this movement, give momentum to this movement. And as we know, we are the nation of startups. Everyone has got their own dreams. We are an aspiring society. And so many of the youth, they are interested in having a startup, finding one. But we also know the rate of success of a startup is very limited. It's only about 3 to 4%. Therefore, we need really to take it seriously. On the one hand, as youth, the aspiring section of the society moves on, as the push, the momentum for the new enterprises drive on, we need to be a little more careful in founding new enterprises, startups, so that it is sustainable. After 5 years, after 10 years, and even after 30 years, can we say that your entrepreneurship has borne fruit? It has led to companies that are sustainable, that are successful. It has given jobs to so many of your other entrepreneurs. That is actually the challenge. Now, coming back to your question, what really prompted me to take up this issue of ethics, particularly business ethics? I do believe that all of us, including business people, need ethics. Unfortunately, there is a general perception that, lawyers are there to make money and therefore they cheat. So the business people are there to make money and therefore they are corrupt. There is a general perception. To some extent, it may be true, just like all of us as human beings have a tendency to cut corners, to cheat at times. But then we need to recognize that although there are some businessmen, some lawyers, some politicians who are corrupt, we cannot say that all the politicians, all the lawyers, all the businessmen are corrupt. We do know that the law of karma is if a businessman turns out to be corrupt, most probably the karma will catch up with him or her and the business will collapse. We have so many examples of that. The collapse of the dream, the venture, because of the corruption, the bribery, the shortcuts that we are all tempted to take. Therefore, why ethics? Because we want startups that are sustainable, that will give jobs in the long run, that will make India proud. And for that, ethics is absolutely necessary. Responsibility is the call of the hour. Thank you.
Great, Father. Now, moving with the next question. How can entrepreneurs integrate ethics into their business decisions?
Yeah. How can entrepreneurs integrate ethics into their business decisions? See, every decision, whether it be that of an entrepreneur or even an ordinary human being, every decision of a child, of a married person, of a old man, a senior citizen, every decision has some ethical consequences, some ethical background. So that is a general rule. Coming specifically to entrepreneurs, we need to recognize that as entrepreneurs, as venturers, we need to translate your values into your decision, into the activities that you are fond of. What you will never do, you should be very, very careful. You should be very, very clear. Even for the sake of profit, what are the things, what are the boundaries that you will never cross? What are the things that you will never do in your business ventures? That you must be very clear. Then we should be aware of the stakeholders and what would be the impact that your decision has on all the stakeholders, including the customers, the employees, the suppliers, and the larger community. That is another thing that an entrepreneur should pay attention to. What is the impact on the stakeholders? And a third thing, use a quick test. Suppose what you decide comes out fully in the newspaper or TV tomorrow, will you be comfortable with it? If you're comfortable with the decision, provided it comes up in the newspaper and the TV tomorrow, then go ahead. But if you are not comfortable, pay heed. Because your decision is right, honest, if it can be transparent. Your decision is lawful, fair, provided it can be shared with others. There may be some particular aspects that cannot be shared because it is personal. But your decision, by and large, should be transparent. And that is actually another of the criteria. And lastly, do pay attention to what others say. It could be the complaints, it could be the need for safety, It could be the practices of suppliers, and keep on learning to make your life better and to make your decisions more and more ethical. And that is crucial for us.
It's on good. Um, Moving with the next question. What are the most important value for entrepreneurs to succeed?
Yeah, I would first quote actually the tagline and the motto of XLRI itself. I was happy to be associated with XLRI, and now, since the last 2 months, I am away from it, but still I feel close to XLRI. Therefore, the values of XLRI, that is excellence and integrity, these are the values that every entrepreneur should actually strive to live by. Along with these excellence and integrity, we can also talk about responsibility. Own up the action. Be responsible to what you do, what you say. Then, respect for human dignity. Treat people, including the seniors, the elderly, the marginalized, the employees, with respect, fairness, a sense of justice and fairness. And then finally, the moral courage. People will know you in 2 weeks' time whether you are a person of moral courage. Therefore, to sum up, the values, yes, excellence, integrity, responsibility, respect, fairness, and moral courage. Thank you.
Nice. Um, Moving with the next question. How do you balance profit with social responsibility?
Yeah, it's a very important question. Thank you. As businesses, including startups, you need to make profit. Profit is core to business, but not undue profit, not illegal profit, not profit at the cost of fellow human beings and the larger society. Therefore, some rules. First, set a boundary. Be clear. No profit from deception, coercion, or preventable harm. Aim for shared values. That means we can have business models that earn by solving the larger problems that our society faces. So, shared values. And then respect the CSR hierarchy. Make the trade offs very clear and explicit. Who benefits? Who bears the cost? And invite scrutiny. Be open to positive criticism. Use the long horizon metrics, that is, what about the brand value of the company? What about the reputation? The retention of the employees as against the attrition? These are actually the ways of balancing profit with social responsibility. Set a boundary, have shared values, respect the CSR hierarchy, make trade off but be transparent, and then have long horizon metrics.
Nice, Father. Moving with the next question. What role does leadership play in promoting business ethics?
Yeah, leaders do have a very, very important role to play. They set the tone. The tone at the top set by the leaders are very, very important. So they align incentives in terms of promotion, in terms of money, in terms of praise and blame, together with the ethics and responsibility. And they also give a chance to speak up when things are not all right. And therefore, the leaders are responsible for institutionalizing ethics. Ethics in business world is not a purely personal affair. It is a corporate affair, institutionalized affair, and leaders are responsible for it. So, these are some of the areas where leaders, the tone at the top is extremely crucial.
Great. The next question is, how can entrepreneurs build trust with their stakeholders?
Yeah, the challenge for all entrepreneurs is to have the stakeholders with you. Not only the shareholders, but all the stakeholders and build trust. For that, first thing is deliver. Deliver consistently, both quality and safety. Reliability is important. The promise that you give them is important. Don't promise if you know you cannot deliver. And therefore, commitment is very, very crucial. Coupled with that, we need to be transparent, disclose clearly, especially the pricing, the terms and conditions, the risk, and the conflict of interest. So, if you are transparent, if you can disclose all that you want and you need to do, that builds trust. Also, we can promote customer and employee data and present it to them if need be. Obviously, privacy is a right, and we shouldn't use this right as a loophole to hide the data of both the customers and the employees. So, careful revelation or disclosure of data, these are ways in which we can build up trust.
It, it sounds good. Your next question is, what are the consequences of unethical business practices?
Yeah, we have been seeing this throughout the history of business. The 2018 collapse, 2008 collapse of economy. Then the so-called Satyam incident. These are all the cause of unethical practices. Sam Brinkman, yes. Okay, I will list some of the cause. One is the legal sanction, the litigation, the loss of licenses, then the reputation damage, the loss of brand value, the customer dissatisfaction, then the exit attrition of talents. Good people won't stay where they must compromise with their integrity. And last of all, it is simply the collapse of the company. Any sustainable company must have integrity. Otherwise, you cannot expect a company to survive more than 10 years if you are not really responsible, not really true. That is why, unfortunately, many of the companies we start, they, they come with a beautiful idea, they grow up fast, in about 1 or 2 years, they collapse because they don't have a sense of responsibility. Their ethical practice is actually questionable.
Great, Father. Moving with the next question, how do you teach entrepreneurs to make a tough ethical decisions?
Yeah, one way is sure. Entrepreneurs, they are they must choose, they must decide. And sometimes it is very tough, very challenging, very painful. One way would be bring in actual case studies. They can actually reflect on the case studies and come up with the different solutions and choose one that is actually really useful for them. Secondly, use moral imagination. Generate more than two options. This or that, good or bad. No. You need somehow to find more than two options so that you can actually go through the complex network array of challenges and difficulties. Life is very complex, and moral life is still more complex. So, go through that complex life, realizing that things are never that easy.
Nice. Moving with the next question, what are the benefits of corporate social responsibility?
Okay, the CSR is actually very, very important. Of course, now we are more into EST, but the CSR, which is actually part of the corporate world, which is mandatory for select corporates, it strengthens the license to operate by aligning the values of the company with the larger interests and expectations of the society. And CSR also reduces risks, environmental, labor, and corruption issues, so that the society actually comes to know the company through their CSR activities. Further, for the company, it helps recruit and retain talent, especially among the purpose driven employees, the employees who really want to contribute to the society. Thank you.
Great. Moving with the next question, how can entrepreneurs create a positive work culture?
Yeah, you really need a positive work culture. I know entrepreneurs are having a tough time, burnout, challenges, unexpected problems keep creeping through. But it is a positive culture, it is the synergy that actually enables them to hold on and to stand the ground. So, one way is create a psychological safety so that people can raise concerns early enough. Make fairness tangible, perceivable. Make sure that people all know that in this company, in this startup, although we are few, we will treat everyone fairly. Recognize ethical acts publicly, not only revenue wins, not just the profit. Also acknowledge where members, employees have acted ethically. So these are some ways of cultivating a positive culture.
It sounds good. Moving with the next question, what are the key characteristics of a responsible entrepreneur?
Yeah, a responsible entrepreneur, the key characteristics. It could be purpose with accountability. He or she has got a clear why and a measurable commitment. Purpose with accountability. Second would be stakeholder orientation. Value creation for customers, workers, and the larger community. And third would be transparency. Admit uncertainty and disclose material risk. And the last one could be stewardship. A responsible entrepreneur is steward, is caretaker of the company. Responsible, yes, taking care of the company and the stakeholders. So, treat environment and society as long term partners, not externalities that can be thrown away. Yes?
Great. It sounds good. Moving with the next question, how do you advise entrepreneurs on sustainability and environmental issues?
Yeah. Today environmental issues are very, very crucial. So, sustainability and environment. The best thing is start with your own company. Identify the biggest environmental impact which your company and your product will make and be honest about it. Second one, prioritize the prevention. How do you manage the waste, the emissions? Prioritize them. Thirdly, engage the supply chain. What you buy matters as much as what you sell. So, buying and selling both are important. Set targets, track progress, and report credibly to avoid that greenwashing. Today, many people talk about greenwashing. They all speak about environmental sustainability and their companies are doing this and that, but that's only in the name, only in the label. So, greenwashing that we can try to avoid. Thank you.
It sounds good. Moving with the next question, what are the implications of corruption in business?
Unfortunately, in India, we experience corruption practically everywhere, not just in business, everywhere, all spheres of life. Corruption distorts markets and punishes honest competitors. Corruption goes primarily against the poor, the marginalized sectors of the communities. It creates for a company legal and personal liability, and it increases the operational uncertainty because for a company you pay twice and you never are sure of what you get, and it destroys institutional trust and harms vulnerable communities most. So that's a very sad part of our life. We need to reduce it as much as possible. Thank you.
Great. Um, your next question is, how can entrepreneurs ensure transparency and accountability?
Yeah, transparency and accountability. See, entrepreneurs actually, they really need a lot of internal energy so that they can actually honestly inform them, the customers, the clients, that they are truly transparent. They are open to reveal everything about the company, except, of course, the genuinely privacy matters. So, disclose material information clearly, transparently. Protect whistleblowers and close the loop on investigations. Publish metrics that stakeholders can understand and compare. These are some of the ways of improving the transparency and the accountability.
It sounds good. Moving with the next question, what are the benefits of diversity and inclusion in business?
Yeah, diversity and inclusion, DEI, that has become a key point in today's business world. Unfortunately, in America under Trump, it is under question. So, diversity expands perspectives, different experiences surface different risks and opportunities. And inclusion converts diversity into performance, voice, respect, and fair processes. They do matter. So, they are very, very crucial in a context like our nation, India, where you have so many cultures, so many religions, so many, say, language groups.
Great. Your next question is, how do you teach entrepreneurs to manage risks and uncertainty?
Yeah, risk and uncertainty. Ours is a VUCA world, and therefore risk is part of our complex nature. And especially with the coming of AI, this risk is actually exponentially grown. So, treat risk as strategic. Identify what could break trust, legality, and safety. Use also, for entrepreneurs, it is important. Use scenarios and stress tests before you scale a product or market. Build buffers, review often. Risk changes as your strategy and your environment changes. So review very, very often.
It sounds good, Father.
Thank you.
Um, Moving with the next question. What are the most common ethical dilemmas faced by entrepreneurs?
Okay, some of them I will list. The dilemmas. One, growth pressure versus compliance. Yeah, we like to cut corners. Then investor demands versus mission. Yeah, the stakeholders demand for profit versus my values and my vision. Privacy versus personalization. Hiring speed versus fairness. Competition versus integrity. This would be some of the dilemmas that every founder will be faced with.
Great. Moving with the next question. How can entrepreneurs build a strong relationship with their customers?
Yeah, strong relationship with their customers. Build trust, act ethically, be transparent, and include the customers in all your decisions directly or indirectly. That means be true, be sincere, be genuine. Build relationships through listening, through sharing, and through ongoing interaction. That will help build customer loyalty and trust.
Nice. Um, your next question is, what are the key factors in creating a successful startup?
Yeah, some of the key factors in a successful startup. One, start from a real problem, offer solutions for real users, validate the needs before scaling solutions. Then we need capable, value aligned team. Normally, it is a team. It could be a short, small team, but they should have similar values, similar synergy. Sound unit economics and disciplined cash management. Finance is a big issue. And then the learning speed, the learning curve. These are some of the tips that I give to every startup so that actually they can survive, they can sustain themselves. Yes, thank you.
Great. Um, Moving with the next question. How do you advise entrepreneurs on innovation and creativity?
Yeah. Entrepreneurs, by definition, are people with innovation. Now, couple it with integrity, with fairness, with justice. That is actually the need of the time. So we need to encourage experimentation, but define the guardrails regarding privacy, safety, honesty. The guardrails are important. Secondly, use diverse teams and psychological safety to widen the idea space. Thirdly, build ethics into design reviews. Don't wait for ethics at the end of the product. So ask questions like who might be harmed, excluded, or exploited in the process of our building up of the company, building up of the product. Test with the real stakeholders. Yeah, real stakeholders. That is very, very important. Thank you.
Great, Father. Your next question is, what are the implications of globalization on business ethics?
Today, as businesses necessarily have to be global, we need to be ethical. Particularly the European and the American markets, they do consider and evaluate the ethical compliance and ethical standards of all companies, including Indian companies. So, if any of our companies need to do business with in the globalized market, ethics is crucial. Commitment to people is crucial. Reliability, trustworthiness, and responsibility, they are crucial. Without them, no business can be done with our global partners.
Nice. The next question is, how can entrepreneurs ensure fair labor practice?
Yeah. Entrepreneurs, of course, there is a tendency to go fast, to move on. But what about the employees? What about those who really work behind the scenes? So, there we need to anchor on core labor rights. No forced labor, no child labor, no discrimination. Respect freedom of association and the right to collective bargaining. Although it may not be always comfortable, we need to respect the right for bargaining. Make safety and well being non negotiable. So, these are some of the practices that will help entrepreneurs to really be ethical, to be committed.
Great. Moving with the next question, what are the benefits of ethical marketing and advertising?
Yeah. Marketing and advertising, if it is done ethically, then trust increases. Trust between the customers and the company increases. Credibility will be on the rise. Secondly, fewer regulatory or reputational shocks or damages. Thirdly, better customer relationships. And finally, ethical marketing protects the vulnerable audiences, the ignorant, the fragile people. And that will lead to long term brand equity like the Tatas of today.
Nice. Moving with the next question, how do you teach entrepreneurs to prioritize stakeholders' interests?
Okay, prioritizing the stakeholders, not merely the shareholders. That is key to the success of any company, to any entrepreneurship. First, identify your key stakeholders and what do they legitimately expect from you. Secondly, create a mechanism like advisory groups, employee voice, and customer councils. And thirdly, commit to due diligence and continuous improvement, not one of compliance, but more than compliance. Be committed, be improving your relationship with all stakeholders. That's very, very crucial for the success of the company and also for your own inner satisfaction. The conscience will give you peace of mind.
It sounds good. Moving with the next question, what are the consequences of ignoring business ethics?
Yeah, in short, it would be disastrous. One, you lose social license. You lose customers, communities, and regulators will stop giving you room to learn. Two, cost of capital rises when investors price governance and reputational risk through the culture of the company decays. Small dishonesty normalizes bigger misconduct. Then partnership with other companies become harder. And finally, your own best people, your own trusted employees will actually leave, disengage themselves, and the company becomes fragile under stress. So the loss of ethics is actually disaster for the company.
Great, Father. Moving with the next question. How can entrepreneurs create a culture of integrity?
Yeah, it is good to have a code of conduct even for a startup. And make this code of conduct a part of the onboarding of any new recruits. Secondly, the leaders, as we already saw, they should set the tone at the top. So, no special rules for stars, leaders, founders. The incentives must be proper, including incentives for ethical behavior. Whistleblowers must be protected. So, these are some of the ways that we can create a culture of integrity.
Great. Moving with the next question. What are the key principles of responsible entrepreneurship?
Yeah. The key principles of responsible entrepreneurship: one, respect human rights in operations and in supply chains. Steward the environment. Take care of the environment. Be guardians of the environment. Third, treat people fairly. Employees, customers, and clients. Third, fourth, be transparent and accountable. Then, finally, reject corruption at all costs. It is difficult, but still it is doable.
Nice. Your next question is how do you advertise entrepreneurs on philanthropy and giving back?
Yeah. The 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 core value of an entrepreneur is not just one's own progress, but the good of the community, the good of the society that has made you what you are. And for that, philanthropy is essential. You give where you have competence. Align your philanthropy with what you really do understand and where you are good at. Prefer partnerships over one off donation. Invest in credible local institutions which will be of larger help for the society. And enable employee giving and volunteering without coercion or virtue pressure. Avoid also, as I said earlier, of greenwashing, also reputation washing. You don't give for the sake of a reputation. So, give from within. The society has given you so much, and you owe to the society from within. Without seeking publicity or reward, give. Give the best to the society. There are so many people who are really in need.
Great, Father. This is your last question for today's session. Uh, how can entrepreneurs ensure long term sustainability and success?
Yeah. Long term sustainability and success, you align your purpose, strategy, and incentives ethically, responsibly. And today, mainly because of AI and also the fourth industrial revolution, there is disruption everywhere. And when there are so many job losses, when the work itself, the company's future itself is under stress, be sure that your work counts. And for that, reliability. accountability, transparency are absolutely necessary. We need to adapt. We need to adapt continuously, but we need to hold on to our basic core values: reliability, accountability, transparency, especially because of the disruption caused by the technological innovations. I really want to thank you, Rima, for this opportunity. And I also thank SK Associates and the whole team for making this actually a really commendable experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Moving ahead, we would like to our sincere gratitude to Mr. Father Kuruvilla Pandikattu for being our guest for today at Conversation with Consultants. Your presence and engagement helped to make this event successful. Thank you for providing insights into your exciting journey. Further, we would also like to thank our audience for listening patiently throughout the event. Thank you everyone for joining with us today and hope that everyone gains some knowledge from this event. Looking ahead, we are excited to announce that our next episode 86 of Conversation with Consultants will be held soon. We hope to see you all there. Thank you and we look forward to reconnecting with you again. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us all social media handles to stay connected with us. Goodbye and have a great day ahead. Thank you. Thank you, Father.
Thank you. Bye bye. All the best. Good. Continue your good work. Bye.
Yes, sir.